I'm just going to really just kick some things off. As you guys know, whether you're using Acquisition Air or you're a part of our Dominator call on Thursdays, obviously John is out to sea for his birthday for the last week and this coming week as well. So I'm going to be hosting Matt and Kenzie today, and I'm looking forward to it because we've had multiple conversations with these two as well as with you guys regarding a programmatic ads partner. And I know a lot of people have came to the table whether they're using Acquisition Air or they haven't started using Acquisition Air and they'd like to because they know that not just the email, but the omni-channel presence is where the future is headed. And they want to get familiar with that, but they have no idea what to do. They have no idea how to go about it. Maybe they don't even have the budget in place to deal with some of the things that Matt and Kinsey do with Exact Digital, with simplifying some of the things that they'll talk about. I'm not going to steal their thunder. But we're going to roll through some information and then we're going to save questions for the end. So again, this is not a webinar style. So if you can keep yourself on mute, be again disciplining the kids in the background while everybody else is trying to learn. So if you have your camera on, we'd love for you to join us. If not, turn it off so you're not a distraction. But I'm going to pass it over to Matt and Kenzie. They're going to talk all about Exact Digital, the history behind it, where they came from, where they're headed, and what they can do for you guys and with you guys to help you partner in a programmatic ads space to be able to create some success with not only Acquisition Air, but I want to be very, very transparent here. Maybe you're not using Acquisition Air. Maybe you never plan to use Acquisition Air. That is okay. If you win, we all win. If John's clients are happy and they're creating success with using the services of Exact Digital, which you're going to hear today, we are completely content with that. We'd love for you to use Acquisition Air leads, but if you're successful, we're all successful. So with that, Matt, Kenzie, thank you guys for coming. Again, thank you for opening it up to more of a personal style webinar versus I just want to talk and then at the end we'll ask questions through the chat. So appreciate you guys hopping on. It's all you guys.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Brady.
Yeah, so thanks thanks to Brady and all. I think, John promised me that everybody on this webinar gets to join him on the boat for his birthday next year, and you can tell him I said that. So I'm I'm gonna open it up and close it. I like to do that because hopefully everybody's late and they miss my speech, and then they've all left early and they miss me on the tail end, and you guys just get to hear Kenzie, who's a lot more engaging than I am. But you've been set up really well by Brady for what we're going to talk about today. You'll get a quick introduction of us. You'll get to understand the opportunity that working with Exact presents your business. We'll discuss the three kind of core pillars of what makes a strong digital strategy as a starting point. And obviously there's a ton of advanced strategies that are available out there, but we often talk about the three pillars, the basics of what every business should be starting with. And then we're going to close out by talking about some specialized things that if you're in the agency space and you're working with other brands, some specialized tools and opportunities that we have for folks in that space and how we can help them grow. So I think it's always good to learn a little bit about us, about the history of Exact as we have these conversations, because I think it really sets the table for why Exact exists and why it might be a great fit for your business. So we are a media service vendor. What that really means is we specialize in one thing, and it's generating traffic for our partners across paid digital strategies. If it's paid, if it's digital, we handle it on behalf of our partners. So let's take a little trip through time and in history back to everyone's favorite year, 2021. And back in 2021, Exact was a fledgling in-house ad agency for a media company. We were having the same problems and struggles that so many businesses have in the programmatic and paid digital media landscape. We were struggling with finding partners that would run our advertising, even though we didn't have tens of thousands of dollars of budget a month. We were struggling with partners that wanted to lock us into long-term contracts, had slow response times, had, treated us as though we needed to become an expert in all things paid digital media just to work with them and their tools and their platforms and to take proper use of those. And it's sad to say that that problem still exists in the market today. We got off a call earlier today with another client of ours who was telling us, hey, we were shopping you guys against another vendor, and we really appreciate you guys even responding because the other vendor didn't get back to us in time. That opportunity was upwards of 6 figures a month, and they weren't even getting a response on one of the largest campaign opportunities they had had. So we, as Exact, we were struggling through those problems that probably sound pretty familiar to all of you. And we decided to become the solution to the problem. So we kind of sat around and said, you know what? There has to be a way to do this better for people in our space. And that is really when Exact became what it is today. So today we are a company that strives to partner with people across the entire paid advertising landscape and deliver cutting edge campaigns for them, regardless of minimum spends, without long-term contracts, without requiring you to become an expert in all things digital advertising, without having any of the slow response times and complex pricing models that are out there in the market. So Kenzie's going to talk to you about this in a lot more detail. And you'll start to get a good lay of the land, but I think it's always good to kind of set the table as to who we are, how and why we approach things differently in the marketplace, and what that means for your brands and businesses as well. And then I see a question about what programmatic is as a whole. So think of programmatic, and it is an overly complex term that gets used a lot. You're going to see it in our presentation. But in its simplest term, think of programmatic as a series of auctions that you program in advance so that you don't have to do a purchase every single time. And what I mean by that is it gives you the ability to buy your paid advertising at a very, very large scale with minimum interaction across many, many websites across the open web. So we'll talk in more detail about that, but think of it this way, as opposed to the traditional model where you would buy an ad on a news broadcast or in a newspaper. What programmatic gives you the opportunity to do is target a persona or a demographic. You would pick your target audience, and then we can purchase impressions against them no matter where they appear across the open web, something that would not be doable at scale without the ability to program those auctions in advance. So it sounds super complex, but if you've bought advertising in the past 10 years, you've probably bought it programmatically without even realizing it. And then the final thing I'll say before handing it over to Kenzie, I think it's really important to know on the onset of things like this, who we're not a fit for as much as who we are a fit for. So we've really set out to structure our business to be a no-brainer for as many people as possible that want to participate in digital advertising. But here you go. Here are the three kind of litmus or sanity checks of, is this something I can leave right now? Thing one is, do I want to spend less than $1,500 a month on digital advertising? That's kind of the entry point for something like this. If you've got $1,500 or more in budget, then you can certainly work with a partner like us. And we have many partners today that have grown with us over the course of the years that started at $1,500 a month and have seen returns on that and grown it to plus 6 figures a month, which sounds insurmountable in the beginning, but becomes very easy to do once the math makes sense. Thing two is, if we're not willing to invest the time and effort it takes to measure results. The most important thing when you start any new campaign or work or proposal or change is to know how to know if it's working and getting you a positive return. We will work with you, but it requires a little bit of effort on your end in the front to say, hey, here's how we're going to know if this is working. If I'm investing $1,000 a month in this, here's how much return I need, how we're going to measure it, how we're going to respond to it, etc. And know that it's not going to be a set it and forget it. The first thing we try is going to work. We're going to constantly improve it together. And then the last part of it is if you don't have the capacity for more business. But I think all of us are here today, certainly, hopefully, because we're eager to learn more and have the capacity for more business. So you've made it through the most painful 12 minutes. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kenzie, who's going to take it from here.
Well, thank you, Matt. And as you guys could tell, he is definitely very engaging. So give himself a little bit more credit than that. One thing I have to say is, Mr. Tim, I'm loving your background with the guitars. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time. I love to talk about digital advertising. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and I am so lucky to be able to do it for a living. So I love helping people. It's my number one goal in life. So I'm here to help at all times. And to dive into programmatics, programmatic is so important in today's world because everything is so loud. We all get served with ads everywhere. We don't know where to look. So when you're thinking about your clients, it's really important to get into their mind. What would they be thinking and feeling? And with that comes the full funnel approach. So when you're doing programmatic advertising, it's really important to not just focus on one aspect. So instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to place some ads, or I'm going to do some paid search ads, or maybe even a CTV, which is going to be Hulu streaming TV. That is very important to know that you should do all of them all at the same time. But knowing the strategy is the most important part, because if you're serving a message that is just selling a product rather than telling a story and solving a problem, then it's not going to get as far as you would think. So in programmatics, like I said, it is very, very important to hit all tiers of the funnel, top, middle, and bottom. So I would say the top would be where you're going to see things like streaming TV or those open web display ads that you see while you are surfing the web and looking at a recipe of sorts. Then you get towards the middle of the funnel, which is going to be social media. That's going to give you some awareness, but it will also include conversions in that. And then at the bottom, it's going to be more on a paid search aspect. So that is where people are in and they're searching and they are ready to convert. So having all three of those tiers hit at different times will keep you top of mind, keep your users engaged, and have the ability to touch them at least 5 to 7 times, because statistically that's how long it takes for someone to convert with something. So if you are just sitting there trying to push, hey, look at this product, I'm selling this product, I'm selling this product, people don't feel like their problems are being solved by you, and there's so much noise that they're going to scroll next to what's next. So it is super important to have all aspects of storytelling. So instead of some roofer that needs clients targeting people that have showed personalities or tactics or interest in that space, saying like, hey, I need a roof fixed. Okay, of course you do. There's going to be plenty of advertisements going on about that for those roofers. So instead, what you need to do is get ahead of those people and look for people that are searching about the age of their home. How often should they check their roof and inspect their roof? New home buyers, young people that may not understand the importance of a roof. So getting in front of those people beforehand is super important. And how you do that is sequential messaging and storytelling. So you are there to explain what your clients' products or services are, but of course you're trying to tell a story at the same time. So why data-driven advertisement works the best is because behavioral targeting, geofencing, and tracking real conversions can actually push somebody through a funnel without you having to worry about it. So when you're looking at behavioral targeting, like I said, it is so important to get in front of people before they know that they need your services or your client services, so that you're not a part of the loud noise that I know every single one of you guys are bombarded with. Because hey, I'm a human too. I go on the internet, I get served things all the time. So it is the things that impact me emotionally and help me solve my problems. Those are the things that I'm going to keep top of mind. And although it may not convert me right then and there, later on down in the process, it will. Take HelloFresh, for example. Maybe you guys know it, maybe you don't. I showed behaviors of a younger person that has been wanting to try new foods and be more dynamic. It took many, many touch points for them to convert me. And it wasn't until they started talking about my time and how precious my time is when I started to raise an eyebrow. So rather than them just saying, hey, buy our product, look how nice it is, it's what does your time mean to you? How are you going to spend your time? But you don't want to go to a fast food restaurant, do you? You still want to have healthy meals. So it took them a while, but after I'd interacted with an ad a couple of times, they kept retargeting me and I converted eventually. So they got me, which I'm a digital ad specialist. So for them to have gotten me, they told a great story. So I feel, and everybody in this industry feels, that it is so lucrative to not just focus on one aspect, but make sure you are looking at the full funnel approach. And this will make a lot more sense when I show our presentation, because I'm a visual person myself. So I'm going to share that with you guys so that you can see it with us. All right, just give me one moment, please. All right. Sorry, hold, please. Sorry. Um,
While we are waiting on Kenzie to pull that up, does anybody have any questions about what they have heard so far that they want to throw in the chat and I can address for you? Good. We're doing a good job then. All right, so Kenzie's got the presentation up. If you can't see it, you may want to check your view settings, which at least on the platform side are top right to me. And I can answer Sean your question. No, so we actually work with partners across just about everything. And strangely enough, my life is one where I can start my day talking to a big game hunting company that creates choke tubes, and end my day talking to a company that makes, or one-off handbags for bridal parties out of Hermes scarves. We work across all industries, scopes, scales of business. We work with people that have $1,500 budgets, and we work with people that have $15 million budgets. It just really depends on the day. We do everything as well, Adrian, in just about every country on the planet, with the exception of maybe 5, none of which are a part of England or the UK. So we can work pretty much everywhere. All right, Kenzie, back to you.
all right. Hello, guys. So I would like to show you this presentation just because it really offers a visual for what we're explaining, because it can be really complex when you're talking about programmatic advertisement. There's so many layers to it. It can be kind of confusing, and that's exactly why we do what we do. We feel that it is super important that We are hand in hand with our partners so that their clients can get the best results. And it is win-win-win situation for everybody. So I'm always here to help, but we are a media buying service built from the ground up, like Matt said, because of our experience and where we came from. We know what it's like to struggle with high minimums or platform requirements and being passed around from sales rep to sales rep, and they don't even know who you are and who your clients are. So this helps all of our brains come together and really solve these issues and these problems and help people promote themselves and grow their businesses. So I'm going to be staring at this screen since this is where the journal presentation is, but my camera's here, so I am very much engaged, I promise. All right, so we are a different kind of partner. Our approach, we've simplified the experience by combining all services and ad spend into one total cost so that it's easier for you and you can still feel comfortable. It's your client, you're still making revenue off of them, but you are having a hand-in-hand partner that is specialized and experts in what we do. So we do biweekly or monthly status calls to keep informed on campaigns, and you can access a live dashboard with in-depth reports in a month and once a month. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really stuttering today. So we have access to a live dashboard within in-depth reports for once a month. So that means that when your clients are running their campaigns, you don't have to rely on us to send you all these monthly reports. And a lot of times agencies might not even tell you how campaigns are going. That was something that we ran into, is that they said, oh, we're doing something, I promise, we didn't see results, and there was no proof to back it up. And here we have a platform where you can view it, we can view it, and even the clients can view it whenever they want. So we have optional quarter in-person summits and strategy and optimization performances, and we're committed to delivering seamless and results-driven solutions, empowering you to focus on your clients while we handle the details. So what all this means is that instead of you having to learn programmatics, manage your clients, do what you do specially, you can rely on us, and I would be your direct point of contact. So I would be the person that would act as if I was your in-house employee. So you would have complete access to me, cell phone number. You can call me when things are going great and ask, hey, what did we do to change this? You know, I like how this is going. How can we make it better and continue this uproar? So we have a very personal approach with really professional experiences. So what we really pride ourselves in the process that we continue to move through. So we like to keep things moving. We like to make people comfortable and know that they're part of the ideation with their clients. So a lot of times when you partner with agencies, you will pass them off as a referral of sorts, and they might not let you have creative expression, and you know everybody knows what's right for their own client, so we keep you in that discussion with the ideation, and we will sign an NDA if that makes you comfortable, so that you know that we are here for you and not your client. So the goal assessment is super important, because in order to actually help your clients achieve their goals, we need to know them. So we need to break it down instead of just going ahead and saying, hey, we want to place these ads. Here's the story. Let's push it. It's okay. Let's sit back. Where are we going with this? How are we going to achieve this? What is your goal? Do you want awareness? Do you want people to click? So there's different capabilities to focus on the different aspects of that. And that's where we come in with our strategy. So creation stage, really fun. So that's when you are trying to hone down your creative, figure out what story you're going to tell. This is when you're going to approve media plans, finalize your targets, sign the contract, and send the creative assets. And we will occasionally, if you are trying to retarget, place a GTM container on your client's website so that they will be able to retarget people that have visited their site. So we know that those people have been engaged in the past. So campaign deliverables are super important because something that we pride ourselves in is constant optimization. What that means is that we will be in your campaigns at all times, seeing changes, growths, strengths. If we see that impressions are becoming less important. We see that people are starting to interact with the leads and we're getting conversions. Now you want to grab a bigger audience of people that don't normally convert with different ads. So what we will do is we will shift our focus from lead generation to awareness, and we will pull those people from that group and pull them into the lead generation. So as soon as we switch that back on, those are people that are engaged and ready to convert. So for example, there are multiple versions of people in the world. So I'm going to consume something different than Adrian's going to consume something, and Brady's going to consume something different than Matt's going to consume something. So our data tells the computer what our personality types are. So, for example, I tend to interact with more emotional pieces, or I tend to just scroll by ads. These are just examples. But Brady might be really engaged in someone that clicks all the time. So that when we are trying to set those goals, when we're going for leads, we're going to target somebody like Brady. But there might be someone like me that might not click on those ads normally, but I'm the perfect target. So we're going to shift to impressions, grab my attention. That might be the one time that I click on something, pulls me in, and now I'm a part of that impression cycle. And we're going to switch it back to leads. So that's kind of the way we're pulling people that don't normally convert. And then, of course, we're going to be reporting monthly, and you will have the live dashboard access. So that won't be an issue, and you'll be able to have all the comments that you want as if I was sitting at the desk right beside you. And then finally, we have the assessment. So we analyze the reports, we refresh creatives. If we've tested creatives in those campaigns, we will see which ones are working better. And then we would pull the ones that weren't working as well, maybe rework them and reserve them. So that's another benefit of this, is that you can watch how those ads are doing and see who is interacting with what better, because a lot of times you don't really know what is going to pull people's heartstrings. It might surprise you. So by doing a test like that, you're able to go in and optimize later and reserve a different ad that may look like the one that somebody was interacting with. Then we will plan new campaigns and then renew contracts if necessary. I see your
And
camera's on, Matt.
And I think one thing that I like to point out here is, I know this is a call populated by entrepreneurs, business leaders, busy people in general, and we're looking at 15, 16 bullet points in a circle diagram, and you're going, "Oh my gosh, this is really overwhelming. This sounds like a whole lot of work." And I think it's really, really important just to highlight again, the goal of Exact and the partnership that we offer makes this completely stress-free. And the way that we do that is by giving you a single dedicated point of contact on our team. In this case, it would be Kenzie for most of you, I would assume, unless you have something very specialized into something another one of our account executives is specialized in, where she's going to guide you through all of this, from the ideation and talking you through, hey, what is your goal? Who is your target persona? Who are you trying to reach? What's the message? To creating the campaign and aligning the different platforms, as well as then setting up your campaign deliverables and your assessments. And Gina, to answer this question, yes, absolutely. We work with businesses directly as well as agencies. I'm assuming most of you are business leaders on this call. And so all of this can be applied directly through Kenzie to your business without another agency in the mix. And back to you, Kenzie, sorry.
Thank you, thank you. And I promise I'm much more charismatic normally. My Wi-Fi went out 15 minutes before this call, so I got a little tight and nervous. So now we're rolling on the hotspot on my phone. So hopefully everybody's hearing me clearly. and I'm loosening up now.
Hey, Kinsey, I want to remind you,
So,
you're on John Limbacher's call, and he just flies by the seat of his pants if something goes wrong. So you're in good hands. It's all good. We're all flexible, I promise. Nobody's going to fire you.
Matt's gonna call me right after this. Oh no. I'm just kidding. So I'm super this okay, so this is one of my favorite parts about what we do. I kind of touched on this in the beginning. So omnichannel is the most important part of digital advertising because there are multiple ways that people are consuming their media at all times. You know, you probably watch streaming TV, then you're on social media, then you're looking up a recipe online, and you're listening to a podcast. So all of those different things are connected to you and feel so important to you. And when you hear somebody on multiple channels, they feel important to you as well. They feel like I know them. They're top of mind. When I go to search for a paint store near me and I see 3 stores sitting right there on the Google search, I recognize one of those people because I've heard them on my podcast. I saw them on my streaming TV. I saw them on social media. So when you are familiar with something, you are much more likely to move forward. So there's so many different ways that we can place the media, platforms that we can place it on. So there's Reddit, X, there's TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, SEM, SEO, Meta, Twitch, and Programmatic. So Programmatic is going to be the open web aspect. That's not exactly what that word fully means. It's just the way that we've structured this on the presentation. So Matt touched on what exactly programmatic is. So it's just programming bots of a sort. I don't want to use that word, but you know, crawlers, internet crawlers. So one of these that I've really leaned into recently is Reddit. So Reddit is such an important place that people are going to for their information now that not only are you being able to place this ad, become top of mind for this person, you are also going to be in a conversation where people are talking about this. Are talking about, hey, what insurance should I get? Does this work for you? And these people are having real conversations with other humans, and then they see a professional ad and they're like, oh, okay, well, I got advice from them, and it looks like this is the answer to my solution. I'm going to move on to this. So it gives you another level of trust. And then there's so many different ones that we can touch on, but in lieu of time, you can reach out to me if you want a little bit more details about these. I would love to go over them with you. But I know that we're all very smart people and we know what these social media ads are, and I know we've all been served them.
And I think one thing I love to always talk about in the omni-channel space, and if you're listening and you're like, you know what, I think this is all great, but I don't like Matt's shirt and Kenzie's internet pauses every once in a while, we're going to find a different partner. I think the important thing that I would stress to everyone is to search out omni-channel partnerships where you can in a paid advertising space. And the reason for that is it allows you to be incredibly efficient and make your dollars work a lot harder. And it allows you to be more nimble and pivot as you're testing out other platforms. If you become an expert in meta advertising on Facebook and Instagram, or you're running messenger ads, but you don't have the opportunity to touch TikTok or X or YouTube or other platforms, you're really limiting the total audience that you can reach. So finding an omnichannel partner is highly valuable in this space. Rumble is a new one. I've actually never ran an ad on Rumble, Ben. I would love to have the opportunity to work with you on there because one of the things that we do differently than I think most people is we set out to find new platforms and opportunities, and it's normally just finding the first partner to figure it out with. Twitch is a perfect example of that. We had a university, couldn't think of the word. Maybe I needed to go to university. University in West Virginia might be the one you're thinking of when I say that reached out to us because they wanted to run Twitch advertising and they couldn't find it anywhere else. we were able to seek out that partnership, onboard Twitch for them, and then allow other partners to be able to access it that would have normally not been able to reach the minimums. So it is a great tool for being able to kind of use almost as a buyer's group, to be able to get on platforms that traditionally have pretty high minimums. And you'll see on the next slide, I'm gonna transition it for you, Kenzie. With the programmatic space, which we have as one slide here, you're gonna see that explode into like 15 more segments. The reason we show you this primarily is so that you can see all of the different opportunities that exist across the open web, whereas the slide before this is what we would call the walled gardens. So you can't buy Google's inventory anywhere but really directly from Google. So we buy it from Google. You can't do that with Meta and others, as well as Truth Social, as I see somebody asking. When you're buying those types of platforms, you're going direct. And so there's a lot of different opportunity for you to get onto the walled gardens. And then now we're talking about the open web. So when you see these opportunities on programmatic, this is where you're thinking, I'm going to buy a target persona and it's going to run no matter where they are on the web. And I always use the example of across divides, whether they're on Huffington Post or Fox News or the Weather Channel or Weather Underground. It gives you access to those. And yes, Roku channels as well are included in our OTT and CTV inventory. And also YouTube TV is another one of the platforms that is off of there. We can also get you on Netflix. But I'm going to caution you that Netflix still has, for their ad platform, pretty exorbitant minimums that we have not been able to negotiate around yet. I forget the exact, but I want to say it's in the $25,000 a month spend range to get onto Netflix platform direct. Pretty soon, though, that'll be opened up to the open web, and you'll be able to get that just like anything else. So, Kenzie, back to you. Sorry for interrupting.
Thank you. So kind of like Matt said, it is really important to have everything all in one place. And it's kind of rare to find agencies that have all of those touch points so that you're not saying, hey, this is my streaming TV person. Hey, this is my social ads person, because then they might have different interpretations of who you are. They're different people. They might have different targets. And that's doesn't work in unison together. So what this does is it works so well together that it moves people down a funnel with you just having to tell your story. So programmatic, so like he said, this is the open web. So this is where you are going to find people through, articles or a mobile game that they're playing or different things like gas station TV. So social mirroring is something really interesting. You can pull a social media post that your client has and place it on the open web because our brains are now trained to pay attention to things like that. So they are more likely to convert in that moment rather than having to go through that full funnel situation. Something that's really important as well that I wanted to touch on is retargeting. So retargeting is where most conversions come from because those are the people that have engaged, they have gone to your website, they've looked into you, maybe a squirrel ran by the window and they forgot about what was going on. So, and I know that happens with everybody, especially myself. So that's one of the core pillars, and we'll get to that later. And then as again, I will go through all of these. If you want to reach out to me, we can go in more detail, but in lieu of time, it becomes very detailed. Just one that I wanted to point out, which is probably my personal favorite, is device ID. Because you can do something like if you are trying to target a certain event, like a basketball game, and you want to target the people that were there last year, you can go back in time and place a device ID fence over that and pull the people that were there and retarget them with ads saying, hey, remember last year? Don't you want to come back? That wouldn't be great ad copy, by the way. Don't choose that, but that's the message that you're going to be putting out. So yeah, there's so many different ways you can get in front of people, and it really is just dependent on your client and what their goals are. One size does not fit all. We do not believe that there's certain packages that we should put out for certain groups of people, because even if you are both lawyers, you have different focuses, different niches, different specializations. So it is really important to stay dynamic and focus on the needs of your client.
And
So we've oh.
You're good, Kenzie. Keep going. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So we've talked a lot about how these things are getting placed and where they're going, but how are we going to find those audiences? How are we going to collect that data? So there's many different ways in which we can find that. And again, there's so many different. So one that I'm going to touch on is deterministic. So deterministic is basically finding people while they're reading something that has to do with what your client is selling or putting out. So they're going to obviously have that topic top of mind. And then there's interest and intent, and then there's location and lookalike audiences. So you can copy an audience that looks kind of like an audience that you've had in the past, maybe a CRM list that you have, and you're able to then target people that show similar behaviors to those other people that you already have as customers, so that you know that they are more likely to become customers. And then there's B2B ISP, which is when you are targeting directly B2B. And then behavioral is probably the number one pillar for display, at least. It's getting underneath people's online behaviors based off of things that they're signing up for, accounts that they're a part of. This data is readily available. Everybody has a digital footprint, and it knows what kind of person you are and what you are more likely to interact with. All right. And then,
Awesome.
yeah, you want to say something, Matt?
Oh, no, I was just going to jump in. I think we were about to say the same thing, which is, so now you've seen there's a ton of platforms, a ton of opportunity at your disposal, and you've seen that we can create completely custom audiences for you across a number of factors. The next logical question is you go, okay, how do I measure this? How do I know that this is working for me and my business? So Kenzie, if you'll jump to the next slide. And I could talk about these for like 2 hours, but I know we all have other things to do, and we have I think an hour set aside. I want to make sure that we have time to wrap up and ask and let you guys ask us questions. So I'll fire through these a little bit quicker than I maybe normally would. So let's talk about the methodologies for measurement, right? So everybody's familiar with the old standard, the click-through rate, how many people saw my ads and then clicked on them. But these are the four kind of, I dare not call them advanced anymore. They're pretty standard methodologies that you can utilize. So you have online purchase. So if you're in the e-com space, if you're in the coaching space, if you can sell online, this is a great way for you to monitor that, measure it, and it's an incredibly easy setup, an easy way for you to measure traffic as well as online purchases, as well as foot traffic. So via the device ID or the geofencing campaigns that we discussed, we can measure how many people saw the ads and then stepped foot into my conversion zone, my store, my car dealer, etc. That allows you to measure that. The nice thing too is via audience graphing and identity mapping, we can monitor, even if it's a connected television ad that's served on a home television, you can monitor the mobile devices that are connected to that same IP address for visitation. So you don't have to be stuck with the old traditional, how many times did it show up? And then for really large campaigns, there's the opportunity to do brand lift, where we can compare a general population that wasn't exposed to the campaign to a population that was exposed to the campaign, pre and post campaign, to see changes in sentiment or lift or awareness. Those are going to be big campaigns. Think at least 1 million to 3 million impressions on those. However, my favorite of all of these, and the one that 2 years ago I spent too many sleepless nights, it's why I'm turning gray, focused on trying to figure out a solution for, which is offline purchase. So traditionally, the gap had always been, I run an ad campaign for a client. I can tell them how many times someone purchased online. I can tell them how many people went to their store. We can measure how their traffic has increased. but I can't tell them how many purchases were made in person. And I'm happy to tell you that we have now solved for that. So you can be served a digital campaign ad and then sell a product in your store, and we can monitor to the penny how much of that revenue was driven out of the digital ad campaigns. And if you'd like to learn more about that, set up a meeting with us. I can walk you through like a full dissertation on it, and make you an expert on it. It requires a little bit of compatibility between whatever your POS system is or your CRM system to the ad system, but it's completely data private, and compliant. So you don't actually have to share back any PII outside of your own platform, which makes it really nice because it's all privatized data, which is really, really important. And then Kenzie, if you want to jump to the next slide. The other way that we give you access to all of the things that you're doing across all these different platforms, we talked about the importance of being omni-channel. That means that you can't just go to one place and see your ad campaign. So rather than recreate the wheel, we partnered with TapClicks. And so clients of ours get access to a live dashboard. You can see your reporting, your performance at any time live. You also have access to Kenzie. We've all been there. I know what happens when the boss walks into your office and goes, "Hey, how many impressions and clicks did we get last night?" Or "What's our latest cell number?" That's not a good time to call Kenzie and hope she's not on a webinar with internet dominators to get an answer. That's a good time for you to go, "Let me show you." And you just pull up the report. So you have access to us at any time, but if you need results faster, you can go to the dashboard. And then I think that will transition us
So,
to the kind of core pillars of digital advertising campaigns. And so
yes.
I think it's really, really important. This is kind of the give you something for free section, where we start to talk to you about, hey, if you haven't really tapped into digital advertising and you just saw this slide with hundreds of bullets and buttons and all these different things, where do you start? Here's the three core pillars that we tell everyone that they need to start with. So the first is SEM, or search engine marketing. And so think of this as your sign online. So no matter what you do, if you take one thing away from this, go into Google, log into your Google My Business profile. If you're like, what is that? Google it, learn about it, set it up. It is the most important thing you can do digitally for your business. Think of it as your second website and possibly the more important one. The second thing you would do is run search engine marketing advertising. This gives you the ability, people that are seeking out your products, your services, that's the way to do it. And then part two becomes retargeting. The people who go to your website and don't convert, the people that interact with your ad, the people that exchange with you, these are the people that you want to retarget, and we can retarget them across any type of advertising. And then the next strategy, and it really, where you do this will depend on who your target audience is, their age, if you're doing e-commerce, if you're B2B, but utilizing a behavioral targeting platform to drive more interest and traffic to your business. That's tier three. So start with setting up a Google My Business profile, then work with a partner, learn it yourself in the search engine marketing space, then make sure you're retargeting the people that are engaged with you. The last pillar to know as a starting point, start running some behavioral targeted advertising, get really, really specific, build that archetypal customer, and run an ad campaign. And we are more than happy to work with all of you on those things. I'd be a bad sales guy if I didn't throw a pitch in for myself here. So feel free to reach out to us, schedule a meeting. We'll be happy to walk you through this and teach you a little bit more. And you can take that and run it yourself or run it with us. That is up to you. So that is kind of the overview of Exact. It's a whole lot. I promise I'm going to leave time for questions. So I'm going to jump really quickly into how if you are an agency and you work with your own brands and clients, how you can utilize us as an agency rather than brand direct. So everything we've talked about so far, really good for you if you're a brand or you're a direct business and you want to reach customers, clients, etc. But now if you're an agency, um, you might be thinking, hey Matt, this is all nice, but I run a Google SEM company. We're running pay-per-click for ourselves. What can you do for me? Or hey, how would this work if I wanted to bring clients over? Well, so Exact is almost a 50-50 split of brand direct as well as agencies. Kenzie hinted at, we sign NSAs and NDAs all the time. We're more than happy. We're not going to go steal clients. We know that this is a small world. So we've really built ourselves as well to be able to function as the digital trading desk of any agency that wants to work with us. And one of the easiest ways to do that is through white labeling. So we are completely white labelable from our reporting to presentations, etc. So you can work with us through white labeling. We offer a plug and play solution. We're very confident and comfortable having our representative be a representative of your company. So Kenzie can sit and talk about the team and be a contractor for you if you want, however you want to do it. A lot of our reps have really worked with their imagery, their likeness, multiple email addresses across multiple partners as contractors as well. And the challenges that a lot of our agency partners face is finding that partner who doesn't require them to do everything with them, but can also still support them both pre and post sale. And that's really the difference of Exact, is we're here to work with you even before you've signed that client to help you sign the client. Once you've signed the client, we're there to provide you help in strategy at your level, really provide you turnkey packaging, whether you're going to execute all of that through us or whether you're going to execute it partially in-house, entirely in-house, whatever, or with another partner. And then we're there post-sale as well. And a big part of that kind of circular wheel with the 16 bullet points is focused on being able to make sure that when a campaign ends, we're having strategic conversations about how to implement those learnings for the next one and how to make things better the next time around and how to keep advancing and iterating the space. So that's kind of the agency specific side. The last thing I'll say is one of the biggest challenges that I think everybody faces, and this is regardless of if you're an agency or a brand, and we're guilty of it, even though we try to never do it, which is throwing out acronyms or terms that people don't know and things like that. But I will tell you one thing that Exact really specializes in is creating a company that you don't have to become an expert in the space to partner with us. So don't be intimidated by a lot of the tech that's here. You don't have to learn all of this. The value of a company like ours is that we give you Kenzie or someone like Kenzie to be able to partner with you, be your single point of contact throughout all of your campaigns, as though you'd hired her and her entire team to work for you at just the cost of an ad spend. And she can guide you every step of the way through these things and provide that expertise. We'll help you learn as much as you want to learn. But if you're anything like me, you're like, I'm not in the figure it out business. I'm in the I know what I know business. We know paid digital advertising. We're here to help you with that. And so we'll teach you as much as you want to know, but you don't have to become an expert just to partner with us. So anything to add to that, Kenzie, before we turn it over to questions?
No, all I was gonna say is, have you guys ever had to give a presentation in front of your boss while everybody's staring at you? That was fun. Speaking of
Always.
boss walking in the room, yeah, no, but he's awesome. I'm very grateful. But yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know that I am in the business of people. My main passion is getting people through something that they've never understood before, or sharpening up some dull edges. And I love collaborating and getting to the bottom of why something hasn't worked in the past for you and why we can get it to work for you and how to move through that. I'm a storyteller. I love to make people's dreams happen. So just know that I would be here every step of the way. I'm an expert in what I know, and I would love to help you guys. All right.
Awesome.
So
Well, yep, go ahead. Go ahead, Kenzie.
yeah,
Say
I was
things.
just going to say that I saw a question up here. Let me see if I can find it again.
So I know Gina asked about law firms, and happy to report that we have worked with, I'm sure there are many different types of law firm that we still haven't touched, but we have worked with many, many, many law firms across many industries, whether it's personal injury to corporate, to we've worked in like very specialized legal challenges, whether it was sexual assault to medical around specific issues, to statewide campaigns, to multinational law campaigns. We've even actually worked pretty heavily in the legal recruiting space for companies that specialize in recruiting partners to come over to law firms and change firms. So we're very comfortable in that space. As far as I saw Joe, the dating space, the international matchmaking space, we have not worked specifically in the matchmaking space, especially internationally, but I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about it because my wheels are already turning. There are data segments out there surrounding like relationship status, locations, interests. There's also a lot of like keyword contextual behavioral and real-time targeting that would make a lot of sense for that, as well as some psychographic location targeting things we could do.
Yeah. And,
Um,
going off of that, that's a perfect example for the type of behavioral targeting that we do. So, in that instance, we would target maybe somebody that has been doing research about a recent breakup, or, I've been alone for this many years. Whereas a lot of people may target dating apps, people searching for dating apps, which that will be a really loud space, and it's so important to get in front of people before they know they need you so that you're actually solving someone's problems, and it feels good. You can lay your head down on your pillow at night and say, "Hey, I really really helped these people today."
yeah. And then we're gonna do lightning rounds. So Netflix and Prime, yes, we can do them. They require massive investments. I'm just telling you up front, we're talking like $25,000. The thing that I'll tell you is if you're not ready to spend $25,000 a month to run on their Hulu, another very premium platform, they're running about $1,000 per creative per month. And so we can get you on other ones in there a little bit faster. Month-to-month agreements, absolutely. So just like we left this open to you all to be able to communicate with us, we like to stand behind our work and what we do. We do the same thing with our contracts. So we offer 72-hour out clause, cancelable anytime. So if you're working with us, even if we were to write an entire year-long contract for you, as long as you're not calling us on a Friday afternoon, it's probably going to take less than 24 hours for us to stop what we're doing. So think of it subscription basis, cancel anytime, 72-hour out clause. It's included in the terms on the contract. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually see it in the link in there. Let's see what else. Minimum time, minimum month to month. Yeah, month to month based on the spend, really. And I think that is possibly it.
I saw Sean Moser asked, on your website, it shows 6 industries you cover. Is that all of them? So we cover all verticals. There's some that we have not touched before, but like Matt mentioned, we're very flexible and willing to go in and work together with you, because at the end of the day, when it comes to programmatic advertisement, even if you're in the same vertical or industry, it's not going to be the same size fits all. So you're going to be learning and having those growing pains no matter where. So we are very dynamic and we love to help everyone. And fun fact, I have ADHD. So my brain is always going in different areas. So it makes me happy.
All good.
Hey
Well,
man, I think you said you had a pretty hard stop at 3 your
I
time.
do. Yeah, I've got to
Yeah.
jump, but I want to personally thank all of you and hope that we have future conversations. And Brady, thanks for setting this up.
Yeah, no, seriously, Matt, Kenzie, appreciate you guys hopping on. I know you guys are busy. I'm excited to see where this goes because we have a lot of folks that have talked about this space and they're either clueless or they've kind of dipped in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I think you guys are going to be able to help out. So looking forward to see where this goes. If they have other questions before booking a time, you just want Kenzie, you just want them to book your calendar, even if they just have a few questions, or is that like serious consult? Like you guys
Oh
tell
no,
me.
yeah, they can definitely.
One open. So, okay,
Mhm.
cool.
And I mean, if you
Yeah.
want me to, Matt, you can hop off and I can continue answering questions if you guys had any more.
Yeah, and
I
all I'll
have
say
till about
is no
go ahead, Matt.
commitment on the consult. Jump in, schedule time with Kenzie. We're here to answer questions, whether you're going to work with us or not. So even if it's just, hey, what would you do here? What do you think this targeting, etc. We're here to help book those times, and we look forward to helping. And yeah, we're not gonna, we're not gonna sell you anything on there that you don't want, force you to do business with us. So take the meeting. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 5 hours, and with that, it was nice to meet you all. Take care.
Thanks, Matt. Kenzie, I'm good till about 3:30. So if anybody has some questions they want to answer, Kenzie, I'll open it up. I'm going to turn my camera off, but you might ask. I think Jim had a question, but I think he answered it as well. It is ad spend. It's not at any cost to do business with them, Jim. So
Yes. So Gina, I see your hands raised.
I'm trying to be polite, so I raised my hand.
Thank you.
Gina and I
Polite queen.
spent 3 days together on a boat, Kenzie. So we've
So Brady
we've
knows
became
how
quite
polite
close.
I am.
Oh, so you've made it to the boat.
I made it to the boat.
Oh,
I spent 3 full days in close quarters with Brady.
Gina, what
what a lucky gal.
I
what happens
know.
on the boat
I
stays on the
know.
boat, Gina.
Oh, well, now I got to know what happened on the
Hey, I'm
boat.
just happy to
No, what
report.
happens on the boat stays on the boat. I cannot tell you.
Okay,
Not a
respect,
girl,
respect.
Gina. I'm just
But,
happy to report that we've been on it for an hour and there's still people on the call. So John can't fire me. I'm good to go. So we're good.
You've done well. So my question has to do with acquisition error. And so in the promo for this session, it said that this works well in conjunction with our subscription to acquisition error. Can you please explain how that would work?
Yes, absolutely. So just like how we pull data and find different parties that we would be targeting, like based off of behavioral, interest, deterministic, and all of the things that I described on the presentation, we would take that same data and import it the exact same way. So we've gotten access from that. Yeah.
So I would continue using acquisition error, but instead of just sending them cold emails, I'd feed you that list, and then you do your magic thing. Like you could make lookalike audiences and things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then those emails are going to be attached to people's IP address. So it's going to be able to serve people on social media, open web, and all of the things that we discussed.
Very
Gina,
ninja.
keep this in mind too. I think you guys know John's heart. He's for you guys. He's for people. We're all for people and making you guys succeed. So by all means, if acquisition error doesn't end up for you specifically working with Exact in general, not working with Exact, we're not expecting anybody to continue to, to do that. Exact has done this without acquisition error leads, right? So they're very successful before that. And what we'd like to see is that continue to happen if you just use their services, but also pour gas on the fire with kind of pinpointing the way that we do things through our lead generation and matching that with their services. So again, keep that in mind, take it with a grain of salt there.
So it sounds like you would be able to ramp faster because we could give you a lookalike audience.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Right.
Correct. Yes.
And then that goes along with the full funnel approach because you're having your emails going, then you're targeting those same people through different platforms. So they're seeing you on their TV, they're seeing you on their phone, they're seeing you through social media, and then they're also getting those emails. So they're recognizing who this person is and they're able to trust them more. So think about somebody that you have maybe seen their face before and you've been in similar friend group, but you never really talked to them. If you see them and two strangers standing on the street, you're probably going to walk up to them. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you,
you.
Gina, for your question.
The unique part that I see with the match, other than the white label, and honestly, I think you guys could probably see through. You guys are good with people. That Kinsey and Matt are sometimes hard to come by with an agency that kind of feels your pain, sees and understands, and has been there and is now kind of white labeled to be able to give you, whether you're a business or the access as an agency to do this. But the marriage between the two is buying the leads for a very inexpensive cost through Acquisition Air. Again, if everything works well with Acquisition Air for you specifically, to now have that information and split it however many ways you guys saw, as many cubes as you see on the screen now is probably how many ways that Exact is going to be able to slice it and dice it per whatever you tell them is kind of your ideal client, or whatever situation, like she talked about behaviors and psychographics, all the stuff that we've talked about with, buyer builder and trying to identify that ideal client that John talks about in the analysis piece. So they've kind of married that between what we're doing and taking that information and dumping it into the avenues and channels that Kinsey and Matt covered. So we're hoping it's a home run.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise, it is very rare to come across people like Brady and John that have such a heart for the people that they're working with.
Oh, quit it.
And
Just quit it.
no, I'm being honest. Yeah, no, they're amazing people. We get to laugh all the time, and it's very heartwarming to find people like this in the space. So Carlos, I see that you asked about lookalike and intent audiences. So for lookalike audiences, it can get kind of complex, but if I say it in simple terms, imagine you have an email list of a certain amount of people, and that email list includes their phone number and their address and their name as well. So you're able to put that into our program, and they will find emails, phone numbers, and names of people that have very similar internet activity. So everybody has their own personality, and there's different sectors of personalities on the internet. So if I am somebody, because I am somebody that enjoys reality TV, and Gina also enjoys reality TV, if I'm on a CRM list or a customer relations list, and they're trying to create another lookalike audience, then they're going to target Gina because she has similar interests as I do. And all of this data is available online. And then intent. So intent is when you're showing those interests. So it's kind of like behavioral, but it's more of almost I would say, not a guess. A guess is not the right word to say, but say that I took a right step and then a left step. You're going to assume that I'm going to take another right step. So what we're doing is finding those people beforehand by looking at there's different lists. It's very complex, but there's a lot of data available on the platforms that we use that is able to predict that if Jim is doing something, then later on he's probably going to do what Mary did the last time and move forward with that. So it's a different way of doing behavioral, and it's more so on patterns rather than behavioral is more so on things that you're interacting with, searching, articles that you're reading, and maybe events that you're a part of. All right. And then you said coach, so inception. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, I was just piggybacking what you're saying with the right
Oh,
step.
okay.
But you're almost like incepting them. It sounds like you're able to predict based on the lookalike or intent that they're about to take this next step. And by the way, I appreciate you guys' presentation because I believe this is what I'm exactly looking for. Because it sounds like you're A to Z, soup to nuts on creating the business plan from the beginning all the way through to dropping to the
Absolutely.
customer. Am I correct with that? And you're almost like
Yes, sir.
a consulting firm where you're taking what's in my head, technically or tangibly, not technically, but tangibly in my head, and putting it to use where you can put a flow chart together with the funnel and everything. So this sounds like exactly what I need.
Well, that's why our name's Exact. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no,
So, yeah, sometimes I'll be talking to people about it and I use the word exact way too many times on accident. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to change this name. What's happening?
so you have, I think, I'm not sure if it was Matthew that mentioned you have 3 levels. It sounded like you started like at 1500-ish, and then you got kind of a mid tier, and then you guys have 6-figure or 7-figure uh, levels of campaigns and everything. Is that correct?
So we do campaigns on all different levels. We do not have certain set levels. So it's not like, hey, you spend 1,500 and then your next step is to spend 3,000. You can change that as frequently as possible and fluctuate it. So it's all up to you because every single person is different. It's really difficult to say, hey, this is your specific budget.
So I'm almost getting my free one-on-one right now. This is kind of a customization then, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
sir.
Yeah, this is really good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, the consulting part is actually my personal favorite. Of course, I love the media buying aspect of it as well, but I love to get to the bottom of the passions behind these businesses and what makes them want to grow and where their goals are. You know, I'm a child of 2 entrepreneurs, so it's in my blood. I've always grown up around it. I know what it takes to be a part of something like that and continue it and have certain things that you want to succeed in, and there's not a ABC remedy for that. We go ABCZQXYZ, whatever it needs to be. Oh wow, that rhymed.
Little did you guys know, instead of just build a Bucky and build a Becky, we have created a Call a Kinsey, and that is a white label service that you're getting to learn about today. You need a question about your campaign. It's like you have Kinsey as an employee. And I don't want to look that and demean her from that, but that's what she's there for. She's there as a liaison to run your programmatic ads arm of your company, whether that's you specifically as a business owner or that's you as an agency working with hundreds of clients. Kinsey will be that liaison, that person you can call, that person that can oversee that while you're over here building campaigns on Quantum or doing a webinar presentation, whatever that may be. In the background, Exact, i.e. Kinsey, will be your liaison again, unless it's somebody else on the Exact team, but Kinsey will be the point of contact for you guys. So that's the way that I see it as I'm sitting here and have listened over the last couple months. Kinsey will be your right hand lady and do all the work with you and for you. And then you can even call her and ask, hey, how's that campaign going?
Exactly. Or you could check your dashboard if you want.
There you go. They're very up to speed on that. So check your dashboard. That'd probably be better. She's like, don't call me. Check your dashboard first, right?
Oh no, please call me. I love a phone call. I'd rather that than an email. I love to chat. I love a good way, a little good excuse to get distracted for a few minutes. So I'll get to your question, Nathaniel, in just a moment, but Carlos has had his hand up for a little bit. How can I help you, sir?
Hi, thank you, Kenzie. And thank you guys, Brady and John, for putting this together. I'm trying to wrap my head around this and say I talk to a client, right? I get what they're trying to do, then I can come to you with that information and we can put something together. Is that how you guys see it, or is am I on the right track about this?
Yes, sir. We are willing to do that. And as well as we can hop on that meeting with you so that
Okay.
you don't have to do a back and forth with your client and it all happens right then and there. Because we all know in this business that time is really important.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Of course. And Nathaniel, so you said, so the only investment is for the ad spend. We can do 1,500 one month and 2,500 the next, and then 1,000 the next. Yes, we like to do tests like that so that you can see what is working for you, and then we can even adjust your campaign within the next month and make sure that we're really getting down to your customers' needs and wants. And then as well as if we're in the middle of a month and you say, hey, they have this great offering that they want to promote, can we switch these ad creatives? It can be done. And we say 24 hours, but if it's a weekend, probably 72 hours. So that's one of the most simplest things you can do. We are constantly in there optimizing. Like Brady said, you can call me at any time and say, hey, I really like how this ad is performing. Can we do something just like it and add an extra one? Of course you can. Or, hey, maybe this is not the direction we want to go in anymore. Let's make some adjustments. So that's what we specialize in, and that's our main focus.
I have another question. So
Yes, sir.
when it comes to the funnel, the top, the middle, and the bottom, when we talk about $1,500, right, ad spend, can you give us an idea like what is used at the top of the funnel, middle, and end, and how much, just to get an idea, like how much interaction can you bring to the marketplace? How much data can you bring? How many leads can you get? Just to get an idea, nothing specific. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It really just depends on your budget at the end of the day and how you diversify it. So if I were to say, sorry, somebody's calling me. Sorry, girl. One of my coworkers, but I will let her know that I was here. So sorry, let me wrap my head back around that. Okay. So it really depends on the budget type. So if you were to say have a $2,000 budget and we were going for a behavioral tactic on the top. So that's going to be your behavioral display. It's going to be an open web. It's going to be finding people while they're searching for recipes. Then you're probably going to allocate at least $750 to that. Then you're going to go under for social media, and you're going to maybe have another $750 for that. And then you're going to do your SEM, which is your search engine marketing, another $750. That does not equal 2,000, but you understand what I'm saying. So for behavioral display, which is the top of the funnel, that is going to be more focused on impressions. So impressions are where you are getting people's attention, you're getting top of mind, you're getting in front of as many people as possible. So if you were to have $1,000 that you're spending at that top of the funnel, then you will get 100,000 impressions. And then from that, there is a normal, for the top of the funnel, the normal conversion is a 0.20% click-through rate. But remember, that's the top of the funnel. So then we're going to go down to social media. Social media, say you're spending $1,000 there again, you're going to get 100,000 impressions. So from social media, it's much more focused on the leads. So the click-through rate is going to be much higher because people are much more comfortable converting there. They're scrolling, they're looking at their dog's pictures, their cousins' pictures, their friends, and they see your ad and they're like, oh, this feels very personal. It feels like it belongs to me. So the click-through rate there is going to be on average a 5%, a 5.2% for the social media. So then that's going to equate. I'm not great at math. Okay. I'm a creative person. Math is not my forte. So 5% of 100,000 impressions is the amount of clicks that you're going to get. And then from that, you have to nurture those leads. And then you're talking about SEM, which is going to be the bottom of the funnel. So it's going to be paid search. That is going to be the highest click-through rate. So that's probably going to average out about 6%, and on the higher end, an 8%. So it works a little bit different. It's not based off of impressions. So I would say that if you're spending $1,000 for a paid search ad, you'll probably get around 2,000 leads. And then from that, so those are going to be like clicks. There's going to be people looking at it, clicking through. Oh, I don't know. But then from that, you could expect at least 50 calls. So these are very rough numbers. I told you, I'm not great at math. We could have another meeting where I can lay this out for you. You can tell me your campaign plans, and then I'll get you the real data. Again, I am the storyteller, I'm the strategist, I am not the media buyer. So those numbers are not my best friend. I normally do my math in private. So just because I'm terrible. But yeah, like,
No, I understand. I understand.
so
Okay,
if
so
anybody wants, yes, sir. No, you go first.
yeah, no. So I'm trying to figure out where do you insert the um, engagement to bring people in, like those either surveys or a report that they can download, or the Q&A uh, document to bring them in. That would be like in the middle, so that you do engage them even more. And then, do you have some type of I guess so, the lead magnet, so you get them the contact information, where do we store them and things like that? Because I'm trying to like to have the whole picture.
Yeah, of course. So when you talk about form fills, like you said, what we would do is for the ad, there's a click through URL. So it's either going to go to a website, it's going to go to a form fill, it's going to go wherever you see fit. We always suggest for it to be an interactive form so that somebody is feeling obligated to fill this form out. So normally we would keep that for every single funnel. It really just depends on the goals. So if somebody is, say, a museum and they don't need somebody to fill out a form, they just want to see if people are coming. So they're going to have their click through URL go to their website so that people can understand them, or they can go to their ticket site to have people fill it out there. So we're trying to hit them every single time with that form fill or your hours or your phone number. So it's normally going to be a form fill, I would say. Or if you're just worried about impressions or you just want to see if people showed up, you can place a geofence around the building of the, say, museum, and you can tell the devices that were served those ads and then converted and walked into the geofence.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. So like I said, I know there's so many different answers to all these things, but it's because it's so different for every single person. So feel free to reach out to me. There's no commitments. I just love to answer questions, honestly. And you can come to me with like maybe a few client examples and maybe their budgets, and we can try to figure out what we would do and how we would strategize and how we could get the story told.
Cool.
Awesome.
I
All
think
right, and then
one had some questions.
yeah, great. How much bang for your buck for 1,500 a month? Yeah. So
We
how
covered-
much bang for your buck for 1,500 a month? Sorry, Brady. Are you?
I don't know. I mean, he asked that question whenever you were answering the question for Carlos regarding kind of bang for your buck. So you don't need to cover that one again.
Yeah. So, and then Joe says, does this only work for companies that have actual marketing funnels? So we're talking about a digital marketing funnel. So somebody's going to have their own personal relationship funnel with their customers. So they can understand, hey, when I get a call, I'm going to transfer them to this stage and this stage. So that's going to be their own personal funnel. This is more of a digital funnel. So we are hitting them at different points. Instead of sitting there and communicating back and forth with them, it's communicating through advertisements. So there's going to be two separate funnels, but what that funnel does is it feeds into their customer relationship funnel.
Does that answer your question, Joe?
Oh, Joe, yes.
You got to unmute.
Hi, can I talk? Hi,
Yes.
Kenzie, great job, loving it. I mean, like a digital marketing funnel, right? So you have a top of funnel, like I have several funnels, but I've been a marketer for a long time, and I know that most businesses don't have. So I'm just wondering, I've never done paid, not really paid ads. So Is this system of yours, does it work for companies? My main question is, does it work for companies that they don't know about marketing, they don't have a digital funnel, like a webinar, evergreen webinar, stuff like this, and they don't do that. Will it still work what you guys do? Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. As
Wow.
soon as we choose that as the goal, saying like, hey, I want to specifically nurture new leads. Of course, we want them to convert, but we want to nurture them. So we're going to try and tell that story by actually speaking to them, saying, hey, I saw you were here. You forgot to fill out this form, or just that's where that retargeting comes in. So I mentioned a little bit about this GTM container, which I think is the most important part of this whole thing. So when you place a GTM container, which is a Google Tag Manager, on your website, you can place pixels on certain buttons of the website. So when somebody is clicking on more information or fill out this
Pricing tab,
form,
pricing tab.
pricing tab, multiple
Yeah,
different things, it can trigger multiple different ads so that that can
fantastic.
answer their question and nurture them a little bit more. And
Oh,
then
fantastic.
that ad will click through to that form fill.
Fantastic. So just a question about your math, sorry to ask, but okay, so if you're
That's okay.
spending on that example 2,000 a month, and you get 50 calls out the bottom end, it would just be 2,000 divided by 50 calls is $40 per call. Is that that was your example. Is that kind of a normal number, or is it all over the map?
It really is all over the map, to be completely honest. I hate
Yeah.
to have like a vague answer to that.
No,
It's just
it is
what
what it is.
I've seen. And for example, in home care services, they might not get as many interactions as a water bottle that's trending. So when you're advertising a water bottle that's trending, you're going to have some high numbers. So it really just depends on the interest. But what we can do is we can formulate a plan to increase those interests or find people that are interested. So, like I said, those are really, really loose numbers. And I hope that no one was checking my math because, but again, please,
For
please feel free
concepts
to reach out
only.
to me. Yeah.
Conceptual purposes only. No worries.
I'm gonna tell Matt.
Thanks.
Um,
Thanks.
I booked a consult with you. I'm really excited to work with you. That's for sure. I have questions specific to matchmaking, but I don't know. Do I have time? I could ask you another question, or how are we doing for time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes, so you got it. No
Okay.
rush. You're good.
So what question would I have? So I have had to create some backdoor hacks to be able to advertise. And 7 years, I felt like I'm banging my head on the Great Wall of China, trying to collapse it. It's like, that ain't gonna happen. But I finally came up with one that's even doing well organically. So it's yoursmv.com. So dating space, right? Matchmaking. So we're high ticket matchmaking, 5, 10, and $20,000 package. We're the only one in the world that has a lifetime guarantee matchmaking. So you're covered until you get married. So my question is, your SMV is the tagline we use is calculate how women rate you. So it is a SMV, sexual market value calculator, and it's for guys and girls, men and women. Could you use that on Facebook? Because matchmaking, dating, all banned on Facebook, right? On Meta. Do you think that's something that we could work on a backdoor with through Meta on, calculate how women rate you now?
That's actually a really great question. That's a great question. I would love to get that answer and talk about it on our consult.
Yeah,
I'm
Kenzie, I'm
gonna
gonna
put it out
and
there.
not
I
to
think
this is
there's
not to be rude, Joe. Let's cover that on the call with Kenzie because it's a specific question to your business. I honestly
Sure.
think Sean's question should be addressed for the masses because it is important. I don't know that you guys have
No
answered
problem.
that, Kenzie.
No
Um,
problem. See you on
and
Wednesday.
and then we I don't mean to be rude, Joe. But Sean's question is the 1,500 minimum. If they have 3 clients at 500 apiece, is that the same thing as just one client per se? And how do you guys handle that?
right. So when we say 1,500 minimum, we are not saying that, hey, we're not going to take you. We can't do that. That's just a suggestion on our end for the ability to have the omni-channel approach, because with a $500 ad spend, you're only able to use one of the platforms. So you're having one touch point, just because there's a lot of doors that we have to go through, such as Meta has their own minimums, which is $500. And then search engine marketing, so paid search, has its own minimums, which is $750. And there's different platforms that hold their own minimum that we can't get by. What I could say to you is that we could have a very, very targeted meta ad. When I'm talking about somebody spending $500, I normally choose Meta just because it is middle of the funnel. So you're going to have the awareness. So you're getting in front of people that don't know or not searching for you currently. And then they're more likely to convert than somebody that is doing a display campaign. Those are much more for awareness. But for a paid search, it's going to be people that are in there looking for it and they know they need it. So I would suggest Meta for that. And once those campaigns grow, we could potentially work with adding more, but we can show that it is still very successful. We just always suggest a omni-channel if you're really trying to have a large reach. And it also has to do with your reach. If you're trying to do a local targeting, or if you're trying to target internationally, or if you're trying to target the whole United States or Canada, those are going to have different spins as well. And then, did that answer your question? And I'm going to get to your second one as well. So
Sean,
okay.
did that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah, that's great. I totally get that. Thank you.
Of course. So your second question was, is it a fee that you're taking out of the ad spend? So what we do is that every single person has a bounty on their head, is the best way to say it. And I'm searching, Mary's searching, Carlos is searching, Joe's searching, Brady's searching. We're all searching for different things. Some of us have higher online presence. Some of us have deeper personalities. The internet knows us better, X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it's Black Friday. So we're going to cost a different amount of money to target. So we go off of a cost per 1,000 impressions. So that means that there is a maybe $10 to $20 to $50 amount, depending on the platform, that is going to be based on thousands impressions. So what it is, I know it's very complex. I'm sorry that if it might be confusing, but Brady and I are both going to cost different amounts. So he might cost $5, I might cost $11. So what we've done is we've done the math to go into the middle of that, so that when we overestimate, we're going to give more impressions. If we underestimate, then we'll make up for that later in impressions. So what we do is we take a small management fee just so that we can buy into the platforms that we're using and also keep the lights on. So it's just as if we were going to go to, Facebook's platform, or if you've ever heard of the Trade Desk or other big name agencies that will say, hey, I'll take your money, but I'm going to take a percentage of this, because it's just the way we're able to place the media. But you won't be able to see the difference substantially in your client's ad spend.
A lot of littles add up to a lot. That's basically your business model, is being able to help the small business owner who doesn't have the budget to be able to provide or afford things like working with Simplify and some of these companies for different lead generation. Most people wouldn't be able to provide, but by you guys taking a very small fee of thousands of customers, it makes good sense for everybody, so you guys can do that. So if anybody has any questions,
Exactly.
I'm gonna put a bow on it, because I know Kenzie's heart, and she would be on here for the next 3 hours. That's just who she is. When you guys have a chance to know her, I don't think you'll leave her. I don't know why you got on the call, just to hang out for a couple hours or whatever. But if you're on the call and you're running a business or you're an agency, I don't understand why you wouldn't book a call. And that's not a sales pitch. I mean, see how they can work with you. And the worst that can happen is Kinsey says, hey, I like you, but it's probably not a good use of your time. You know, it is what it is. And that's why we took the last couple months and went to bat for you. I really think this will be a home run for all of you guys. And if it's not, hey, we lick our wounds and go on, and Kinsey will still be your friend. So, all right. Right, Janie?
Yeah, we can hang out.
Cool. All right.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it. I look forward to meeting all of you, if not most of you. So let's do it. Yay.
Yep. Orland, I'll
Bye.
put this up on the Acquisition Air support site, as well as I'm actually going live with this on the Internet Dominators YouTube page. So this will be on public as well. All right.
Awesome.
Have a good day,
Thank you guys. Have a good
And
day.
next week, sorry, but you're going to get me again, myself and Connie. I'm going to have Connie jump in, but I'm going to be going through, I think, a little, little tease last week, but I'm going to go through really just some things that I've learned about quantum with doing the tutorial videos, as well as what I've put together using some of the tools for our ClickBank launch. And I think there'd be some value there, and we'll have some fun. If it's totally boring, just log off, and John will be back the week after that. So we'll see you guys.
Thank you
Have a good week.
guys. You're awesome.
Thanks,
Oh,
Shane.
thank you, Janie. Bye.